Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan set that I have plots, analysis, and character bios for these issues. We're going to be looking at two. We are going all the way to issue 350, and we are going to be looking at Captain America 348 and 349 from 1988. And we've got Flag Smasher here taken on Cap, and Ron Franz and Al Milgrom are doing the cover. So here we go. So the title of this issue is Out of Commission, and we've got it says here 15 miles from the North Pole. So it's either Russia. So we're either in Russia, Alaska, or Canada. So really don't have very many places to go. And so we see Ultimatum are going after the Flag Smasher. He's like, my own agent's shooting at me, he thinks here. And so Ultimatum is the name of this organization, which stands for, gotta love it, the Underground Liberated Totally Integrated Mobile Army to Unite Mankind. Mark Gruenwald, rest in peace, is our writer. Kieron Dwyer, it does the penciler, and Al Milgrom is the inker. What I like about Al Milgrom most of the time is his thick brush. He's a brush inker. So he's like, you don't guys don't have the right to pursue me. And he says, you're no longer our leader, Flag Smasher, not after what you tried to do. And he says, I can explain, but they won't let him. And he thinks here, they'll never understand. I've pegged the identity of Ultimatum's true founder and financial backer. And so he tries to use his gun. It's a Luger, but of course they have better weapons. So he is going to do his best here to get out of the way. You can see him jumping up. He fires. The other guy fires. He evades them. He hits one. He's like, oh, I'm going to blame this on Flag Smasher. But Flag Smasher gets him with the Luger, kills him, and he feels bad that he was a good agent, but he says, I have no time for sentimentality. If I hope to escape, let's see. North is that way, but he couldn't be going north because in the North Pole on Earth, it's not like the South Pole where Antarctica covers the South Pole. The North Pole is water. There is no land in the North Pole. So, he says here there's a scientific outpost about 25 kilometers southwest of here. So he's going to go in there, and now we are in the Commission of Superhuman Affairs. Everybody's sitting here in a circle. They're all disappointed here. I'm going to go ahead and read this part. There's a lot of this issue that's going to get narrated here. When we Mr. Walker, John Walker is Captain America during this time. When we appointed you as the new Captain America, we had every confidence in you. But from the time you underwent basic training, you've shown a certain lapse in judgment. We kept hoping that the problem would clear itself, but it's only gotten worse. The dust has barely settled from the watchdog incident in Georgia, an affair you should not have been involved in the first place. And now we have reason to believe you were in a fracas in a Texas oil field that resulted in an explosion that left 2 men critically injured, to say nothing of the property damage incurred. What do you have to say for yourself? And Captain America says, I was there, sir. Those 2 men are old enemies of mine. Matters got out of hand. And this other guy, or could be the same guy. Look, we replaced the original Captain America because he wouldn't obey orders. When we hired you, we thought you could. But now half the time you're running wild, and we are forced to cover up for your excesses. The other guy says, let's get to the point, Mr. Walker. It is the opinion of this commission that you're just too wild to be of use of anymore. We took a vote. The majority of us voted to suspend you permanently. This time, you'll be under detention pending an investigation of possible criminal acts. Kindly turn yourself to the guardsmen waiting outside. are you following, Mr. Walker? He's like, yes. He's remember, his parents are dead. I have a playlist. But Ronald Reagan, president of the United States at that time, comes in and he's like, hey, I wanted to meet the new Captain America. He tells him, it's a hard job. I bet you can do it. And then he asks how come he wasn't consulted about the other release of Steve Rogers. And he's like, you give us discretionary powers. Yeah, I didn't think you'd want to be burdened. He's like, don't you think that, that would have been important? What happened to Steve Rogers? And said, we fired him. And that he couldn't do the job, and said, where is he now? And he says he's in jail for assault on him. That was in issue 344. Reagan says, hey, I think Steve Rogers is the one that saved me. He should be getting a medal. I think, what can I do to expedite his release? And they're like, oh, nothing. We'll just take it from here. And so he leaves, and then they're like, crap. Ronald Reagan on his way out says, I bet you can do a great job. Make us proud. And so he leaves. They all look at him, and now they're like, crap. And so they're like, all right, let's just wait for the new president to take over, and then we'll see what we can do. And so Walker is staying. So now back in wherever this is, the in the Arctic. He gets to this base, gets these people. He's like, direct me to your communications room. He says that way, and he goes in there and says, send a message to the U.S. Captain America, I need your help. And so this guy's going to report to his leader. Of course, this is the guy that's been in from the very beginning, pulling all the strings, and we will see who he is, but I won't spoil it for you, even though it's an old story. And he's like, well, I got good news and bad news. We can't fire Captain America. And that person says, oh, good. We need Walker to continue besmirching America. And the other guy says, okay, well, then the bad news is that we have to release Steve Rogers. And he's like, that's all right. Just put a tracker on him. And he's like, oh, these other people are going to get suspicious of him, of me soon. And then he asks, don't you want him killed? And of course, he says, no, the dead are of little use too. There's a knock, and he's like, I'll call you back. So Valerie Cooper comes in and says the Flag Smasher is requesting Captain America. So the guy's like, well, send him. Maybe he'll get himself killed and save us the trouble. So Steve Rogers is sitting in the cell, kind of going through everything that's happened. I have a playlist. Feel free to check it out here. He does not know that Super Patriot is the new Captain America here. Suddenly, there's an explosion. The lights went out, and he gets ready for action. Doors are unlocked. He's walking through, finds his shield. Why, that's not suspicious at all. On an airplane, this is a big airplane for just these two. They're looking over at the intel from Flag Smasher and Ultimatum, how he's crazy. We actually started a run of Captain America with these issues of Captain America here. So we're basically, again, getting a recap how Captain America had shot a guy and killed him. So and that guilt led him to where we are now. But John Walker is not talking. Again, his parents are dead, and he just is not doing very well, and Battlestar knows it. So Captain America is getting out. Again, a lot of thoughts here, kind of, again, just explaining what is going on and what has happened, but I have a playlist, so we are not going to concern ourselves with this here. All right, so Captain America and Battlestar arrive. Captain America puts on the parachute and goes in there. He's gonna meet Flag Smasher, and he's like, All right, now that you're here, drop your shield, or I'll kill this guy. And Captain America's like, no, and he's like, what? Um, you value people. Drop your shield at once. And John Walker says, go ahead and kill him. You'll join him in seconds. And he's like, you're not Captain America. He tosses him here, and so we're gonna have a villain, super villain superhero fight. But he's like, you're an imposter, and John Walker says, of course, I am the Captain America, and so here we go. Great. This is a great splash page here. Uh so all right. Again, John Walker is like, I'm not fake. So he hits him and they hit each other. So we go here. Again, we just need to narrate this part. It doesn't really uh matter much. Look at that. He looks so good. That's actually kind of cool. And so here we go. Grabs him, punches him, and then he uses his power to take. So Flag Smasher has a power to like absorb um strength and stuff like that, and he knocks him down, and he's about to kill him, but Battlestar shows up here, and he's like, puts the gun here, and so Battlestar's like, all right, you're in charge, and he says, good, I have a message for you to deliver. Um, Tell your superiors to bring me the real Captain America, or everyone in this facility, including this imposter, will be killed. So he's giving them 2 days, 48 hours. Uh, so he's like, oh, great. What do I do? And so they Battlestar calls it in, and this guy's like, ha, Battlestar's out of luck. Steve Rogers has flown the coop, and no telling where he is. And so in Washington, D.C., we get to the last page here, and Steve Rogers gets the hotline terminal, but he's hoping to find D-Man, who was also imprisoned here, but this is gibberish, and he's now going to have to make it to Brooklyn Heights. Now, it says here to be continued in 2 weeks in Avengers 298. We're not going to cover that. It really has zero to do with this. It's just a way to tie things in. And so we get to 349. Great cover here. Ron Friends again. Very Eric Larceny. Again, it's Ron Friends' new Jack Kirby style here. Ron Friends and Al Milgrom doing the cover here. But Kieron Dwyer still continues to do it. So the captain is sneaking into Avengers Island Hydro Base. And so it says here this takes place after Avengers 18. Again, we are not covering any of those Avengers stories. They are pointless to the story. Same creative team as the previous issue. All right, so we get exposition of everything that's happening. The Avengers are disbanded. That was Avengers 291 through 297. I have zero interest in the Avengers during this era. Whatsoever. So, and apologies to Walter Simonson, one of my favorite artists and writers and creators out there. It was not enough. The Avengers, and then John Byrne took over. It still didn't help. Just zero interest in the Avengers. I do have, by the way, an Avengers playlist where I covered the main Avengers stories that I was interested in, but that was it. So he's looking at Hydro Base, and it's abandoned. Here comes somebody. He's like, oh, and it turns out to be D-Man. And so everybody's been looking for him, but again, the hotline was gibberish, so he went there looking for the Avengers to see if they could find him, and he went to the Avengers to see if they could help him find him. So, and so He heard the Avengers were broken up, but there were some reservists, and that was Avengers Annual 18. Again, they're just kind of recapping it. Feel free to use the website that I posted at the bottom if you're interested in knowing. There's a helicopter, and inside the helicopter is Battlestar, who is also looking for the Avengers to see if they can help find Captain America or the Captain. And here he comes here, and he's like, "Oh, is anybody home?" And then he's hit by D-Man, who Captain America doesn't want him to. He's like, "Hold off." Sorry, the Captain, and he's like, I work with Captain America. D-Man's like, prove it. And he's like, I got a government ID. Hey, IDs. And so we get a recap of last issue. And so he's like, he asks if he works for the commission, if this is this is a trick. And he's like, nope. And he's like, all right, it's Flag Smasher. This is too important. And he's like, you guys didn't even honor the memory. He's like, we tried. And so he wants D-Man to go, and Battlestar's like, we don't need him, but D-Man's coming anyway. All right, at the facility, the John Walker is being held in the frozen water. You know, it is kind of a thing here. There was not much done with John Walker, and all this time, it really was still about the Captain and Steve Rogers. Captain America really was just a secondary character here. And so Flag Smasher's revealing the plan, but you know, after he leaves, cold water. Oh, brr. All right. So he's got everybody here. He's got radar. He sees that someone's coming in here, and they're gonna go here and land again. There's really not much to tell. It's a lot of exposition, and we're gonna get to the meat of this. They're gonna go and rescue Captain America. Here goes Battlestar and the Captain. They're gonna deal with the ultimatum people here. Kicks them here again. More stuff from stuff that we have already covered. And I have a playlist, so there's really not much to tell here. Just narrate the action here until we get to Flag Smasher. So Captain goes through this ultimatum guy, tries to shoot him, but of course he deflects it and kicks him, and so he, oh my gosh, breaks this guy's wrist and continues fighting here. So pretty cool. It's oh man, gosh, this guy gets blown up. Cap hits him again. They're all trying to get Flag Smasher, and so the Captain comes through. He's like, he's got a different uniform. And he's like, prove you're the real Captain America. What are the last words you said to me? He says, you're going to regret saving my life, Captain. I give you my word. And so we now get to what he knew. He says, I'm no longer with Ultimatum. I resigned when I learned that my organization activities were being funded by the arch national socialist, the Red Skull. Meanwhile, Battlestar saves Captain America. He's severely frostbitten. That's not true. If he was frostbitten, he would lose his legs. And so, but they're not going to decapitate. They're going to take away his legs. So now they're fighting. They both have a shield. Remember, he took the original Captain America shield. So they're fighting ultimatums here. D-Man comes through. And they're going to go, and they're like, what about Battlestar? He's like, we'll come back for him. We got to deal with this weapon here. And so I probably should have, I should have gone back in there because I skipped this part here. So sorry. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh goodness gracious! I apologize. I completely skipped this part here, and this is like very important to the rest of the story. Ugh. The Red Skull. You mean the original? Sorry, you can't mean the original. He died, and so that was in Captain America 300. And Flag Smasher says, "I have no idea if it's the original or not, nor do I care. All I know is that I recently happened upon a document disclosing that the chief financier of my anti-nationalist army is one Johann Schmidt, alias the Red Skull. When I learned the truth, I tried to dismantle the Doomsday weapon we have been working on to use a device funded by the Nazi, even to save the world, would be the height of hypocrisy." And the captain says, "What Doomsday device?" "You must help me to destroy it, Captain. It's set to go off in mere matter of hours. With my men against me, you're the only person that I could trust." And so Captain America's like, "Well, he seems trustworthy." So there we go. Now we're caught up. And so they're going to go get the weapon here. And I am so sorry that I had skipped over that part. And so they switch shields. And Captain's like, "Man, I missed this shield." So here we go, here we go, here we go. And so they're like, "All right, take it down." And he's like, "I don't know how to take it down. That's why I brought you." And so Captain America thinks, or Captain, what an idiot. So um, he tells D-Man to, D starts, is for demolition, by the way, in case you guys forgot, Demolition Man. And he's like, "Hey, smash the Quinjet." And so into that thing. So he's gonna go do that, and he's like, "Nothing we can do to evacuate." And so they only have 2 minutes here, and he needs to let's see here. He thinks that Flag Smasher is just gonna try to rabbit out of there. So he is. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And so they're gonna try to shoot it down, but of course we know they're not gonna be able to. And Captain America wants to save D-Man, and he's like, "I don't see his chute anywhere." Then it explodes, and of course we got a Bucky thing here, and he's like, "Dennis," and he's like, "I need to go in there." He thinks of Bucky. He comes down, and he goes back up, and he's like, "No sign of him, not even a fragment of his uniform. It happened again. Heaven help me, it happened again." So here we go. Next issue. We're going to wrap everything up in Captain America 350. So, Captain America 348, 349 by Mark Gruenwald, Kieron Dwyer, and Al Milgrom. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.